Yes, my video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour, just as addictive, work, relationships, collecting, materialism, trying to fit in, trying to be the person I thought you wanted me to be, and trying to be the person I thought I ought to be. So these days, just gradually making progress, finding out who I am on a daily basis, and keeping in recovery, that is, in recovery from addiction to alcohol and addictive behaviour. So my videos, the reason why I do the videos, I was asked to when I was at a treatment centre in Soho in the heart of London, a place where I used to go to nightclubs and goodness knows what else went on, and also has an alcohol treatment centre as an outpatient for the National Health Service in the UK. So yes, these videos, because people couldn't get to the treatment centre, or they knew people who couldn't come in or would not come in, that's how they started happening some years back. So I've continued, and it's part of my daily meditation, if you like, to share experience, strength and hope of recovery. So February is the second month of the year, as we know, and it's also for me all about step 2 of the 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous, the fellowship which keeps me on track on a daily basis by being in touch with people who are in recovery, be it 1 day sober or 1 hour sober, because we learn from everyone, or 1 year or 10 years or 20 or whatever number of decades it might be without a drink. And I was just here with a friend, in fact more than a friend in the past. She's just gone, and an ex-partner in sobriety. And the gift is, you know, when we broke up, we didn't fall apart too much or go back to drinking. We did fall apart a bit, but that's just part of breakups. And knowing that you still cherish a person, although maybe we weren't meant to be together, all part of recovery. Nothing changes in that respect. We still learn how to be human beings, 1 day at a time. So the great gift in sobriety is we can have relationships. They may or may not work out, but we don't have to end up hating each other. In fact, we probably love each other more simply because we can get on and accept where each other is. So there you go. What a gift in recovery, to understand that if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and if it's not meant to be, life will show us. Who knows? There's always tomorrow. Anyway, we can be hopeful about anything, but at the moment it's good to be me and where I am, and it's good to be her and where she is. So she tells me just now. So my video is all about recovery and the fellowship of AA and how it helps me, and I refer to literature in these videos, and this particular book, Daily Reflections, is a 1 page a day to reflect upon, with one of the steps in mind. So each month it covers one of the steps, and this month it's all about being restored to sanity. Or the step reads, Step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And I'll explain more of that as the month goes on, because it means pretty much the same thing for everybody in some way or other. It just means that we're not God, and we're not in charge particularly, but if we have help, we can get good choices on a daily basis. So that's what it's all about. And the fellowship of AA, well, I always share the statement of intent in these videos because it slows me down into the moment of now, and it reads like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And what a gift, you know, to be in a fellowship which is all about sharing a message of experience, strength and hope with each other, so that we may continue in sobriety. What more could one ask for? Well, not a lot, but we do get a lot more besides, which is the ability to connect not only in fellowship, but the ability to connect in community and society. as life affords. So it's not all jolly hockey sticks in sobriety. We still have the ups and downs of life that is afforded ordinary people. Well, as I believe everybody is unique, authentic in their outlook and on their path. We're not special and different, but we're just unique and authentic where we are in our journey of living. And that's what the fellowship helps me do, just to keep on that journey of living. So the reading in Daily Reflections today, this book, for February the 1st, it says Goal Sanity. Yes, how often was I not saying? Let's see. Step 2, gently and very gradually, began to infiltrate my life. I can't say upon what occasion or upon what day I came to believe in a power greater than myself, but I certainly have that belief now, and I do. Most things have, most things feel like a higher power to me, because I get informed from them. I learn wisdom from everything around me. So, as it goes on to say, came to believe. I gave lip service to my belief when I felt like it, or when I thought it would look good. I didn't really trust God. I didn't believe He cared for me. I kept trying to change things I couldn't change. That's the insanity of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Gradually, in disgust, I began to turn it all over, saying, "You're so omnipotent, you take care of it." He did. In other words, stop being in charge and let the world in, because if we let people in, they can inform us with their wisdom. I began to receive answers to my deepest problems, sometimes at the most unusual times, driving to work, eating lunch, or when I was sound asleep. I realized that I hadn't thought of those solutions. A power greater than myself had given them to me. I came to believe. And for me, all of that, and it is a power that we come to believe, which is our own unique, authentic take on how we can live our lives, if we let go of the obsession and insanity of trying to make it all our way. Because we exist in the company of others, always. Nobody is isolated or completely independent. And the gift for me in all of this, over my life, it was always about trying to get it my way or the highway. And what I've realised through time is that if we develop independence and interdependence, that is, having our own view on choices we can make, given all the information at our disposal, and if it's just our information, it's very limited to our own outlook, but if we open up to the world, then we have a better opportunity to take on board not only what we may choose for ourselves, but what we may be involved in and included with others. So this philosophy of being restored to sanity, or came to believe that a higher power could restore us to sanity, for me, my higher power was, for me in the early days, professional people who got me sober enough to understand that I didn't need to drink anymore, but I needed help on a daily basis to avoid denial, to going back to the old same old. So restore to sanity is a daily occurrence. I can always go backwards into the problem, where denial exists, where I think I can have it my way again, or I can go forwards into the solution, which is to be a part of life, to be included. And that's where we can be loved by others, love them back, and don't try and take hostages. If we try and take hostages, we are in danger of going back to being a jailer or a prisoner of our own self-will. And the danger is self-will runs riot and becomes obsession, and drink is on the horizon. So for me, as I come to the end of these videos, I choose to reflect on the Serenity Prayer and say it to myself so I understand it again and again in any situation. To acceptance, and to God or good conscience as you choose. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is, for me, just for today. About me and my life and the Fellowship of AA. The Fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is part of my life. I don't speak for it, I just speak from my experience having been there and how my life is made better by having a different outlook, with less denials and less filters about what I can and cannot do. And for me, the Fellowship of AA has provided me with a toolkit of how to live, and that is something which is not restricting me, it's actually opening up the world for me so I can see better what is going on around. And part of the toolkit is the 12-step program, which some people are familiar with, obviously, because they go to AA and watch my videos, and some people just starting to go to AA and think, oh my God, what are these people? Are they a bunch of nutters or what? As was referred to in one of the emails this morning. And you know, what is a higher power, and why do people actually keep on sticking with the fellowship when they may not believe in a God of other people's understanding, or a God only of their understanding, which is also making them feel angry about their situation? And I guess what AA has done more than anything is give me the wisdom, the experience and hope to see how life can be sober. And the 12-step action program, I've covered the first step in the first month, January, all about powerlessness over alcohol, and life is unmanageable if we drink. And I guess for February I'll talk about more, which is step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And before you switch off, my higher power is truth. Just simple truth, the simple truth of now. And if you challenge yourself to find out what is the truth of now without putting your own version first, you'll find it as difficult as I can to sometimes find what the truth of now is. But for me, you know, in an action program, which is suggesting, it's just mere suggestions, it's not telling you what to do. You need to sort it out for yourself, your understanding of life and how you want your life to go on a daily basis. It's as simple as that. And what I knew in the insanity of my drinking, and the definition of insanity, which was given to me way before I got to AA. What is the definition of insanity? It's simply doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So every time I put a drink inside me and I said to myself, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to take time out, time off, and I didn't. That was the insanity, until I could not stop drinking 24/7. And that was after a long drinking history, and I guess I'm lucky in some ways to still be alive. I've had the last rites given me, even though I'm not a Roman Catholic, and the person who offered me this particular service, when I rejected it very loudly and with very rude words, he said, don't be so fussy. So where did my insanity take me? It took me to life and death situations around drinking. Not life and death in as much as hurting other people, other than my lack of ability to be there. Lying in a hospital bed with somebody I didn't know, offering to give me the last rites. And that wasn't just on one occasion. Well, it was one occasion when the last rites were offered, but on other occasions I was there in a very bad state, being patched up yet again. And this was in this millennium. And it's not funny. I mean, it's funny when you hear it sometimes, but other times it's deadly serious. And I was lying there in a pool of blood, and I was not very happy with life. So how on earth did I survive those things? Well, somehow I did, and that was before I got to the Fellowship of AA. If you go to a meeting of AA, the preamble is the first thing you encounter, apart from the people, the tea, the biscuits, and this very strange camaraderie and fun going on. Often it's very funny when you go to AA meetings, and you can't understand why alcoholics who don't drink are having so much fun. Yeah, it happens. Anyway, the preamble is shared at the beginning of every meeting, and this is what it says. Excuse me. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And the gift is that all alcoholics are different, but we have one similarity, and that's a desire to stop drinking if we've got to AA. If we haven't got to AA, we probably have no desire to stop drinking, and we're mad as hell at life and why we can't stop. So the gift is, when we get to AA, we get to meet people from all walks of life with all sorts of beliefs, and all sorts of ways of looking at the world. And the gift is they walk out of a meeting with all these differences still in their heads, except for one similarity. Maybe, just maybe, they won't have a drink today. And when the fellowship was first formed back in the 1930s, 1930s, the understanding of the 12-step program had a lot of words which are sometimes thought ill of around belief. The word God comes into it quite often, and my understanding of God is very simple, and I feel like it is the same as Gandhi would have suggested, that simple truth, the simple truth of now, is God, or God is truth, truth of now, and God is love. And with that in my head as a higher power, that the truth is my higher power, and that if I take account of it, my life will be less insane. So if I can access the truth of now, which is not my version of truth, it's the absolute truth of now. It's about living with what is, the reality of now. And if we can live in the reality of now, that is our spiritual connection to truth. So spiritual and God and truth are interchangeable for me. They are not undermining anybody else's belief, and they certainly improve my outlook of having a higher power. That is the collective wisdom of mankind and truth, the truth of our situation today, even in a credit crunch. And that affects a lot of people. You know, we need to look at the truth of now rather than deny it. And so when it says, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity, I started to believe that AA probably had the answer for me, because so many people went in there completely sodden with alcohol, and on a daily basis learned how not to drink anymore. So the higher power for me started with the collective group, the wisdom of AA. And then I found that I could access the wisdom and truth of my family, the wisdom and truth of society, and start to be a part of again, part of life, part of doing something useful on a daily basis, learning how to love and be loved. And some of the other insanity along the way is that we still are affected by people around us. And as you know from my videos, I've got a big gap inside me because a relationship has ended. And there was a lot of love in there. And I don't want to deny that and say it was all bad and awful because it's ended. The absolute truth is there was a lot of love in there and it was working. And then it stopped working. And if I keep on looking for the truth of why did it stop working, it would drive me mad again. I need to accept where things are today. So the gift, if you like, of being restored to sanity by a higher power, which is for me truth, spiritual, the truth of now, then life works a lot easier and I don't get into a bind and worry about, well, what if, why not? In the past it was like this, and in the future I want it to be this. I just live in the moment. And in the moment of now I can accept the truth, and I don't need to be frightened by it, unless I'm standing in front of a bus coming down the road at a rate of knots. So higher power for me was a great debating point when I first came into AA, and kept me sober long enough to stop debating it. And the gift is that I make life work on a daily basis. So I've gone on a bit about higher power and sanity. So truth offers sanity. Truth offers me less denial and less filters. And if I don't put a drink inside me, I don't try and distort the truth to suit my particular needs. I'll talk about daily reflections, which is a one page a day, and as Bill sees it in just the second video today, because I can't cover it, I don't have the time in one video. But thank you for the emails, and thank you for the questions around higher power. Why does AA seem so bloody awful when we first get there? Simply because we are mad as hatters when we get there, normally or abnormally, and we have a lot of things to sort out. Acceptance, that is the key to much of what is going on. Accepting the way the day is now and what I may do. I may not drink today, and with a bit of luck I'll get to bed tonight and my head may not be as mad as it can be. To either substance or behaviour, they forgot then. My substance of addiction, alcohol, my behaviour, trying to be perfect. And never so, never perfect, yet still trying to strive for it. And a better striving, if you like, would be for happiness, I suspect, or suggest. The truth of now gives me a better understanding of how I may be happy. And I'm into the second month of the 12 steps of AA, that's Alcoholics Anonymous, that fellowship which keeps me alive on a daily basis and looking for the truth, which is my higher power. Simple truth is my higher power. And as Gandhi said, God is truth and God is love. So if I'm looking for a higher power of truth and love, I have it all around me all the time, as long as I'm not filtering it out or in denial about something or other. And what helps me more than anything is the fellowship of AA. Puts me on track on a daily basis with its readings and its fellowship. The fellowship of other people who do not drink on a daily basis, just simply for one day. And then we sort of add up a few days and a few more, and it goes into years. And I've got 1 or 2 years behind me now, or a few. But what's important is I live in the day, live with what is, the truth of now. So this thing about higher power is a big conundrum when I first got to AA. And the fellowship recognises this, and don't forget the fellowship only started about 70 years ago, where higher powers and God were big issues in people's lives. It's not like today where we can challenge everything and anything. So in the preamble, or rather the content page of this book, the 12 by 12, it gives a little summary of what is step 2. It said, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So came to believe that the truth about myself could restore me to sanity. And the only way I can get to sanity is to be in the company of people who have gone barking mad often and found their way into recovery. So what can we believe in? AA does not demand belief. 12 steps are only suggestions. So everything is a suggestion. It's what you take on board for yourself. Importance of an open mind. And I had a closed mind when I got to AA. Nothing could save me. Variety of ways to faith. And my faith is in human nature, to the good of good conscience. Substitution of AA as a higher power. Well, to a large extent I do, because I know the collective wisdom within the fellowship of how to stay sober enables me to have my life back, my outlook, and my understanding of what I may do and make good choices. Plight of the disillusioned. Roadblocks of indifference and prejudice. And I was prejudiced against the idea of a higher power when I first got to AA. I'd seen my father fall victim to alcoholism many years before, and see him fall foul of the system of how life works. Loss of faith found in AA, problems of intellectuality and self-sufficiency. Yeah, I'm a big thinker. I can think around a problem and make it true for myself. See, I have self-will, self-obsession sometimes, and I can make the truth look like, well, I can express a point of view as if it were the truth. So whatever you do, if I'm expressing a point of view, remember it's your point of view which counts. So intellectualizing things and self-sufficiently didn't do me any good. And negative and positive thinking, self-righteousness. I was always a self-righteous person with all the right answers, always wanting perfection. And the other outstanding characteristic, it says here, defiance is an outstanding characteristic of alcoholics. Step 2 is a rallying point to sanity, right relation to God, and as my understanding of God is truth, the absolute truth, and not the truth I would like it to be, or the belief or the faith that I suggest is the truth. It's the absolute truth. And there's a big difference between what we want to be true and what is true. And I've had a big learning around that in the ending of a relationship where both of us were okay and both of us loved each other, but at the same time it wasn't going to last for for a lot of reasons. And I guess it was because self-will doesn't make things right. It's the actuality of the truth and where we are which makes us understand what our choices are on a daily basis. So I'm just a learner, always. And it doesn't matter how old we get, even me in my 50s now, I don't know all the answers by a long shot. So what is AA, the fellowship? I don't speak for it, I only go to it. It's a fellowship of men and women. And here it says, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And clearly, when you go in and out of the fellowship on a daily basis, you can be allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, and does not wish to engage. You can engage in any controversy, and you can endorse or oppose any cause. So we don't change our outlook in that respect. We're only there for one thing, which is to get to the truth and live as best we can. I use daily reflections. This is one of them. And it's all about step 2 for February. 12 steps, 12 months, 12 opportunities maybe to share about how each of the steps work. And it says here, goal, sanity. Step 2 gently and very gradually began to infiltrate my life. I can't say upon what occasion or upon what day I came to believe in a power greater than myself, but I certainly have that belief now, and I do. My higher power is always going to be truth. Not my version, just truth. So, came to believe, exclamation mark. I gave lip service to my belief when I felt like it, or when I thought it would look good. I didn't really trust God. I didn't believe He cared for me. I kept trying to change things I couldn't change. Gradually, in disgust, I began to turn it all over, saying, you are so omnipotent, you take care of it. He did. I began to receive the answers to my deepest problems, sometimes at the most unusual times. Driving to work, eating lunch, or when I was sound asleep. I realised that I hadn't thought of those solutions. A power greater than myself had given them to me. I came to believe. And I come to believe on a daily basis that I have good conscience inside me, which is far better than my self-obsession and wanting things my way. So the good of good conscience, truth, and God is love, all those things sort of make my higher power very understandable to me. And it's what you choose to believe. It's not my belief that you have to adopt. It's your own understanding of the higher power. And the absolute truth is that without AA and the fellowship giving me an opportunity to find my good conscience again and keep me away from booze, I couldn't cope, and I would have died a lot sooner. On page 15 of As Bill Sees It, it says here, eternal values. Many people will have no truck at all with absolute spiritual values, and my spiritual value is the truth of now. Spiritual is living now, understanding the moment. It's the one gift we can actually do something about and make some choices in. Perfectionists, they say, are either full of conceit because they fancy they have reached some impossible goal, or else they are swamped in self-condemnation because they have not done so. So it's not about whether what's the best way of saying this? In terms of spiritual, nobody gets any better or worse at it, or is higher or lower than another person. We just get to know what the truth is, and if we accept it, we can do some good choices. Yes, yet I think that we should not hold this view. It is not the fault of great ideals that they are sometimes misused, and so become shallow excuses for guilt, rebellion and pride. On the contrary, we cannot grow very much unless we constantly try to envision what the eternal spiritual values are. And the eternal spiritual values are in the moment, so they keep on changing. But truth is the truth that keeps on changing. It's how we manipulate it sometimes that we go wrong. I've only got a minute left. Day by day we try to move a little towards God's perfection, or rather the truth of now for me. So we need not be consumed by marauding guilt for failure to achieve His likeness and the image by Thursday next. Progress is our aim, and His perfection is the beacon, light years away, that draws us on. And the truth of now, learning, the ever-present learning that we can do, to be able to deal with life as is, striving to be happy, rather than striving to be better than somebody else, just striving to be happy in this one moment, we have a better hold on reality. And that's all about acceptance too, which comes in the Serenity prayer, which is often said, well, always said in meetings I go to at the end. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. And often it's just simply wisdom to know the difference and finding acceptance in there somewhere.